everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I hope it's fun. It should be really relaxing. We're just going to make a landscape today. Because last week I took a vote and everyone liked the landscape idea, so we're going to try that.
That's nice.
Yeah, and I did do a prep, which I actually messed up on, so I hope I do a better version today. But at least I tried it out. So I have this done as an example.
Oh, that's cool.
And we'll start with this sketch, and I actually printed these out in case it might help, so everyone can get a copy of this to start with the sketch. And I'll also draw it so you can follow step by step. And feel free to make changes, like make it your own. You can make the tree a different shape or size or in a different spot, but it's like a guideline if you'd like to follow it. And this one's loosely based off of the one that I showed everyone last week, which is this one. So maybe we'll make it more similar to this one. That was the original one I was hoping to emulate, but we'll see how it goes. Any questions before we get started?
Do you want us to copy this on here?
Yeah, we're going to follow that step by step. You can either go right ahead and copy it, or you can follow me, but I'm going to copy this one,
Okay.
the same one. And then we'll go ahead and color it in later with the watercolor. Okay, so I usually start with whatever my focal point is. So on this one, I started with the tree and then drew everything around it. So for this one, I'd recommend doing something like a Y shape of a tree, and you can add some tree branches as you go. For this, I'm putting it kind of on the left side, so I have space for the canyon or the valley here. Now I'm gonna just do something like that to start. Can you see that okay? Is that hard to see? Okay. Maybe I make this dark. Too big. I'll leave it like that. Okay. And you can make this a bit lighter and not too dark if you don't want it to show too much in the final. Now I'm just gonna make these areas a bit thicker by adding those two lines, and then maybe adding another branch right here, another one right there, something like that. Doesn't have to be exact, as long as it somewhat resembles a tree. And then for the foliage, we'll just go ahead and draw some oval-like shapes. Again, you don't have to copy this exactly, but it just gives us a place to fill in the foliage later. And you don't have to fill it in with these like ovals later. You can make it more leaf-like. But for now, we'll just do these shapes around the branches. Now this is a sketch, so it can be very loose.
Bless you, by the way.
Yes, bless you. I want this one to be bigger. You have a kneaded eraser if you want to make any changes. You can kind of dab it or rub on it.
Bless you.
Looking good.
Oh, this looks like a hand.
It does, doesn't it? Fingers. Those are some strange looking fingers though. You can also refer to this printout I put in front of you if that's easier. It's the same thing, more or less. Now once you finish with the tree, we can go ahead and outline the background. I'm going to start with putting, actually this is the foreground, just a line here to separate the foreground from the background. And then let's add some bushes with some wobbly lines here, maybe around here. And then around here too. Right, and then with the hill, you can draw first a straight line that goes across this way, maybe around here. And then a curve going up that way. And then just do one more behind it, a little bit higher up and a little bit smaller. Now we can do one more back here. I'm going to make it parallel to this one, so this part will kind of line up with that one. And if it doesn't, that works totally fine. They're kind of just spread out. And that's enough to get us started, I think. Wait, no, I'm going to add one more back here. This is in the very back. Questions so far? Not yet. All right.
Mrs. Webb, you want to come do some art?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let me move, and I'll put you right here.
Okay. Now this is where we can start to pick up our paintbrush. You don't have to draw these in, because we can just paint them in later. I recommend to start using, actually, wait, let's use this big one. Whoopsies. This big brush here, the flat, because we're going to cover a lot of area. Oh, more coverage.
I think they're on that side by your back.
Oh. Right next to me.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to use this one.
All right, here you go.
To fill in the background here. So first, wet your brush, load it with water.
Do you have any more of those?
Yeah, I put everything out over here.
Perfect. Sorry.
Yeah, all good.
You're currently drawing this on here.
With a.
Hi.
With your pencil right here.
Oh.
And then here's some. So do you think,
I don't have a brush.
are you able to see up here? Kind of what she did a little bit?
It's the same as this.
Okay.
Yeah, you could go ahead and sketch that.
Here's your brush.
Now for everyone else, now we have a wet brush. I would pick either this blue or this one. They're very similar for the sky. We'll just pick up some paint here and make a kind of a reservoir of this color. So I'm going back and forth between the palette and here and my water cup to get enough water and enough paint, making it about this watery. It's like a light tea consistency. About this much is good. Of course, the more saturated this is, the more saturated your painting will be. Mine is relatively thin because I don't want it to be that blue on mine. Now once you have that color, we'll pick it up and just put it across here. I'll demonstrate first. So I'm just pulling this all the way across, and I'm running out of paint as I go, so I'm just going to reload this and then add another layer right on top. And to make a gradient like this one, I'm going to dilute this by actually, maybe I'll rinse it first and then wipe it dry a little bit. So now it's diluted. I'm going to go back over it like this with half of my brush on top, and then go back and forth to make it kind of blend. And I'll keep doing that with each layer as I go down. If you want to lighten it at any point, you can dry out your paintbrush by rubbing it against the cup to remove water, which dries it out and turns it into a sponge, and the sponge becomes like an eraser. So as long as your brush is clean and drier than the paint on the paper, then you can use it like an eraser. Like so. Oops. You're using a clean, wet brush to make the gradient on the bottom. So rinse your brush, maybe dry it a little bit on the paper towel, and then go across like that. You can fill it all the way to the top of the hills. It's okay to overlap the tree because we'll paint over it later. Some nice oval shapes there. Okay, great. Now for the next step, I'm switching over to this brush. It'll be easier to do the details that we're going to do next with this one. And we'll start to fill in the background. Now to make this look more uniform, we're going to just mix some of this yellow. Hold on, let me move this. With this blue that we have from earlier. So this yellow, it's like a yellow ochre color here to make it a little bit green. Just a little bit. It's mostly yellow. This is what will give us a sense of atmosphere, because it's blended with the color of the sky. Once you have that done, we'll just fill in this back layer right here, these hills. And I'm going to paint over my tree, which is okay because we're going to paint over this later with a darker color. Once you finish the hills in the background,
keep
I would
on?
use just a straight yellow,
You want to observe?
so it's less green, and put it right on top here.
Wow. You have like 50 minutes.
40.
But I think your floor's still wet.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for these beautiful artists.
Yeah. They're working on a landscape today, so you can kind of see what Cassie, the instructor, is doing up there. Yeah, so they follow step by step what she does. So she teaches them. Yeah.
Hi.
Her name is Cassie.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming.
What's your name?
What?
What's your name?
Oh, Manao. Oh, my God.
Minal?
Me llamo Lino.
Oh, me llamo Lino?
That means
Lino.
my name is Lino.
Oh,
He said it in
Lino.
Spanish.
Okay. Hi, Lino.
That's great.
Yeah. She comes
Oops.
every Wednesday.
I went outside of my lines a bit. And with the same yellow, we're going to paint the foreground too. You can try mixing it with a different yellow for some variety, like the one right next to it. I'm going to make this a very intense color, so I'm using a lot of pigment and not as much water as before. So it's a very saturated color here. Let's go ahead and fill this all the way here. This is based off of some photos that my husband took of Coyote Lake in Gilroy, or near Gilroy. We went camping there a few weeks ago.
Well, that's cool. I've never been camping in my life.
Oh, really?
I've done glamping, like
Mhm.
staying on RV.
Oh, okay. That's pretty close.
Yeah, but no tents. I've never done that.
Is it something you want to try?
I don't know.
It's not as comfortable.
Probably not at this point.
Mm. Beautiful yellows. Okay. Now the key to make colors look more unified and harmonious is to include one color mixed in with everything else. So in this case, we'll have like a yellow or brown as the unifying element. So when I make the greens for the tree, I'm going to mix it with a little bit of this yellow that I used initially. It makes it look more together. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So for the trees, I'm going to use this yellow with this green here. It makes this green a bit warmer because we're adding this warm yellow color to it. And hopefully this is dark enough, but I'm going to try adding it on here and making it very saturated, so this is not very translucent. Just going in like a circular, small circular motions like this within this circle shape. I don't want my tree to look like a bunch of ovals, so I'm going to just kind of make it look organic by filling it in somewhat in some places, but not exactly inside the oval. I just want to mostly fill that area. And this part you can kind of make up as you go. If you don't want this line to show, you could go over it and make
So
it bigger.
First time I'm picking in, so,
Maybe I'll go over it more this way so I don't have my lines showing so much. I'm only going to go outside of it maybe a little bit. Whoop. They're almost like green clouds, the way they're shaped. I'm gonna try to paint around my branches so I can still see the lines. I'll add some extra foliage I didn't draw in, like maybe behind these branches at the Y kind of junction here. Oops. And if you do paint over your branch, it's okay because we'll cover it with a darker color later. Now with all of the greens that we use here, you can kind of try different variations, like maybe mix in more of this one or that one. It doesn't have to be all this green. Maybe you want to try using this lighter one and just see how it looks. For the ones in the front, I would recommend using a lighter green and then maybe a darker one for these back here, but you can feel free to experiment however you'd like. For mine, I'm gonna do, I think, actually a slightly bluer one. I'm gonna mix in this cooler looking color. It's almost a turquoise. And try that here. The slightly different like hues of green will make it look a little bit more diverse. And with these trees in the back, I'm going to mix in, I think, a bit of this green with brown, which is here. So I can keep that warmer tone. It looks like a, almost like an evergreen green. a brownish green. I'm going to try to use just the tip of this brush for these finer details. If it's easier for you, you could switch to this finer tip. This is really great for small details. And copying my own sketch here, I'm just going to fill in these tiny trees in the back, or draw them in, paint them in. Try mixing different greens here. I think I made mine too dark. Any questions so far?
When that dries and some of these are darker than I'd like, can you mix your paint and take over the
You could kind of erase it by taking a clean wet brush and then painting over it again. I mean not painting, but applying water on
Dabbing
top and then
over.
dabbing it off. Yeah, the paper towel, which looks like you could use more of. Would you like me to demonstrate?
Pardon me?
Oh, would you like me to demonstrate?
Yeah.
You want to try it yourself? Maybe just on this one. This whole bush?
Yeah.
Okay. So this reactivates the dry parts and lifts it off. Then you could either use a paper towel or a dry brush. Dry brush just means this rinsed out and clean, dried out, and then soaked it
Oh,
like
they're
that.
definitely like music here.
Yeah, this might actually be easier because it's easier to control the tip of this.
But will I mix more of my yellow in here now to get or should I keep it pretty well in the same color vein?
It's up to you. I've mixed in some yellow with mine to make it look more uniform with the hills.
Okay.
But if you like that shade of green, you can keep that.
Let's see what would happen if I did this.
Do you have any plans for summer break?
I'm going to a camp in July.
In July? What kind of camp?
It's like a Christian camp.
I've been to one of those. I think I spent a week with my friends who were at the camp. They invited me over. Is it like a Bible study?
It's called Hume Lake. It's just like
I've heard of that.
you do like a lot of different stuff. So it's really fun.
Is it like outdoorsy stuff where you get to climb on things and?
It's like there's like a ropes course and stuff. But it's like there's like recreation. So it's like you basically get into teams and then you do different stuff and try to win.
Oh, that's really fun. Yeah, getting to compete in games and stuff is really fun. That's cool. Have you been to it before?
I go every year.
Oh, that's awesome. And how long is it?
It's a week.
1 week. That'll be fun. Cool. Okay. Well, for the next step here, I think we're gonna do the tree trunk here. And the color is a little bit off on my example here. I'm gonna try something else. We're gonna use this brown And it looks kind of reddish to me, so I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of gray to dilute the color a bit so it doesn't look so intense. So dark brown plus gray. It makes it look more like a mocha. And once you've got enough of that paint, you can go ahead and fill in this here. Hopefully it's dark enough. If not, you can mix darker color. There we go. Then for a shadow, you could use the same color, but make little strokes for grass or blades of grass like this, so it doesn't look too dark. Gonna mix it with that yellow a little bit.
I never made it to that freshman.
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah. I was helping out with like the hours and stuff.
Oh, okay. On mine, I feel like adding some more foliage in the foreground, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add some more green up here. Originally, I had a bit of a road here, but I want to try something else this time. Now for the rest of this, you could add some shadow and start filling in the lake water too. I think I'll start with adding some shadow to this big tree. So just using a darker green with some of that brown. Makes like an army green. I'm gonna put it on the bottom sides of these ovals that I made earlier. This light green dried like way darker, or I'm sorry, way lighter than the way it looked when I put it down. So I'm trying to give it some balance here.
Did you mix the color with that dark green?
Yeah, I mixed in some brown to make it a bit warmer on mine. Maybe I'll put this completely in shadow instead. Kind of experimenting here with the shading. Oop. Mixing it with the original layer a bit. I don't know if I like it. We'll see how it looks when it dries. The last thing on here, once you're ready for it, is a couple of blue strokes in the lake for the reflection of the sky. Just adding some lines here. Yeah, I'm just adding a little bit of shadow to the underside of some brushes. Or not brushes, bushes. Or at the later stages, if there are any adjustments you want to make to anything, you can peek it. Something needs to be darker or lighter. If you want to change the color, you can kind of paint on top of it sometimes. Any questions? Everyone looks very focused. I'm gonna try to darken some parts on mine. This paint is a little bit funky in that some parts it dries like chalkier and lighter. So that's something to watch out for. Like the black I don't think is actually completely black. It turns out like a matte, kind of dull black.
Did you use a thinner brush to kind of outline like your, like here, or did you just use this brush?
I use a combination of both, but this one is, the smaller one is much easier for the smaller details. Well, to create some interest, you could try putting some of this light orange On here are some blades of grass. I'm trying to use the shape of the brush to make these blades, just pulling it down, straight down. I'm using some of that yellow ochre here too.
All right, everybody, it is 11:51. Just want to let you all look great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it came out really
most
nice.
enjoyable.
Oh, great. At this point, you can be adding grass or just fixing details. I'm just adding grass on mine. Ta-da.
It's cute.
Thank you.